Saturday, and joining us now is UNC beat writer from the Raleigh News Observer. Andrew Carter joins us. You can follow him on Twitter, X at Andrew Carter, and he's now here on ESPN 620 Phoenix. Andrew, how's your Thursday going? How's it going?
It's going great. Might not be as great as you guys, though, with those 29-degree beers.
It's going well. I like here. This guy's style. Yeah, it's a good start. Good start. Yeah, Twin Peaks is enjoying that. Hey, grand prize for the 2025 NBA draft is going to be Cooper Flagg. Yes or no?
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any question. I mean, he pretty much was the consensus number one pick like a year ago when he was in high school. And keep in mind, too, that he reclassified, that he technically still should be in high school. He only turned 18 this year at Duke, early in his freshman season, actually. And he's done nothing this season but exceed expectations, but, prove that I would say he's probably the best freshman college basketball player. You can make the case since Carmelo Anthony, more than that's 20 plus years ago when Carmelo was at Syracuse. And Cooper has been that guy for Duke since day one. He's flirted with triple doubles all year. He can do so many different things very well. Obviously, he can score, can take you off the dribble. He can rebound. He's a great passer. He can defend. He has an incredible competitive spirit. He checks all the boxes. And so there's no doubt that he's going to be the top pick. And, you might have seen some ridiculous stuff a couple weeks ago from a story a friend of mine did in The Athletic. The story was great, but Cooper had a flag in there saying, Cooper had a quote in there basically saying like, hey, I love it so much, I wish I could come back. He was never serious about actually coming back or giving that any kind of legit thought. It was just sort of his way of saying, I love it here at Duke. There's zero chance he comes back. And I think there's zero chance that he's not the number one pick.
Who does he remind you of? Can you compare him to any NBA star?
Oh, gosh. I'm the wrong guy to ask because I'm not like a super into the NBA, honestly.
It's fair.
But
it's tough. I can't even answer my own question. So I get it.
I'm not sure there is a great comparison in terms of his size, in terms of his skill set, because he does he's just sort of this freak of nature where he does literally everything very well. And I'm not sure there's been a player in the NBA that has been as skilled as him in like literally all areas. I think it's going to be a one-of-a-kind type situation. He's a generational talent. But whoever gets him, and I haven't checked, lately, which teams are tanking trying to get Cooper Flagg. But I think it would be a wise decision if that was your strategy.
The only player that I would put, if I go back to his college days at Indiana State, would be Larry Bird, who could carry a team on his shoulders, and he did all the way into the championship game. The difference, I think, between Bird and Flagg, Bird was a little taller, but couldn't jump the way that Flagg does, and you are correct. He is extremely skilled for being this young.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, we always hear in this part of the world, North Carolina covering UNC, covering Duke, these are schools for years and years that have gotten their share of top recruits, and a lot of them enter with no shortage of hype, especially at Duke. Over the past 10 years, there's been a ton of one and dones. Zion Williamson was sort of that guy 4 or 5 years ago, and he was at Duke, but Duke has had, Jahlil Okafor, RJ Barrett, you go on down the list. And a lot of those guys have been really good. I mean, Zion earned the hype. He was sort of this phenomenon nationally, but nobody has been as good as Cooper Flagg has been during what's going to be his lone season at Duke. And again, it's on both ends. It's not just scoring. It's not just the highlight plays, the dunks that go viral. But he loves to set screens. He loves to move without the ball. He loves to do those things that do not show up in a box score. He loves to, do all the right things that John Shire wants him to do in the offense to help set up his teammates and stuff. I mean, he's just, he's an incredible talent. It's the stuff you see, again, that goes viral, but it's all those little things. The nitty-gritty details he's also really good at. And that's what's going to make him a great pro for years and years.
Very tough to defense as well, too, on Saturday night. Back on February 1st, I had a chance to watch this game at Cameron Indoor. 87-70. Didn't it start off like 25-3 or something like that? And Tar Heels made a run. But since then.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Since then, you guys have won 7 of the last 8, only losing to Clemson. What's it going to take there in North Carolina to have this team be competitive against Duke or in this rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that UNC has done really well over the past 6 games, 6-game winning streak, you have to put that into the context of, the fact that the ACC is not very good. And so UNC over the past couple of weeks has kind of been beaten up on teams that, are just down. Like they've played sort of the bottom half of the ACC. They have played really well, so you have to give them some credit there. But Carolina has shot really well. That's not something that they were doing for the first 2.5 months of the season. They were not a good shooting team. So, they're going to have to shoot 50% or better from the outside to have any sort of chance. UNC has not been a very good defensive team this year. Like, if you look at the metrics, KenPom, some of these advanced analytics sites, basically have this particular UNC team as being one of their worst defensive teams over the past 25 years.
3 minutes.
For a Carolina team to be this poor defensively. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get some stops, figure out a way to slow down a very potent Duke offense. I think it's going to be really tough. I just think, there are certain teams where, you match up favorably with and you can sort of see a path. Well, if this happens or that happens, it's very difficult for me to see a path where UNC wins this game on Saturday. I know that's not something people here want to entertain. Obviously, this is UNC country. Duke is actually more of a national type brand, a huge fan base, obviously, but in North Carolina, it's UNC and NC State. And so Tar Heel fans are going to be mad at me for saying that. But I just think this is a really bad matchup for this particular Carolina team. They lack size. They've not been very good defensively. They don't have the particular tools, I don't think, to really even
2 minutes.
I can't even remember what it was. 25-3 sounds about right. It was one of those games when they played the first time where Duke, you got the sense, could have picked its score. And they kind of let off the gas a bit in the second half. They were up 30-plus points. Yes. And it wound up, you look at that score, I think it's a 17-point margin, and it's like, okay, that's not close, but it's not embarrassing.
Right.
But it was embarrassing.
It was.
It really was. Like, Carolina, I think, went on a run the final 3-4 minutes in garbage time of that game to make it look quasi-respectable, but it wasn't close. And honestly, I would be surprised, even in Chapel Hill, if it's close on Saturday.
Andrew Carter's our guest on the Right to It, a guest line. Andrew, I'll let you go on this, and I know that you're into the hoops right now, but is Bill Belichick now the king on campus? Has that already happened or not yet?
1 minute.
Yeah, no, I think he is. Like, it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I mean, that name just carries a certain kind of gravitas, if you will. I mean, like, even at UNC, which, let's face it, UNC is not Georgia, it's not Alabama. It does not have this reputation of being like this football mad institution. But because of the hire, because of this guy that won like 6 Super Bowls, the most successful NFL coach of all time in that regard. Yeah, I mean, people are excited. Like, it's sort of a novelty. Mm-hmm. I think it's like, I don't know if anyone here really has a firm grasp on what to expect. Does he turn UNC into this football power overnight? Probably not. Like, it's not the most talented roster that he has to work with. They got their work cut out for him in terms of recruiting, in terms of hitting the portal. But there's like an immense interest. I think the interest in UNC football, both on that campus, throughout the state, throughout the region.
Clear to wrap.
I mean, people are paying attention to UNC football. Folks like yourself out on the other side of the country are interested in the story. And that has never happened to Carolina football. It's always been sort of this, why isn't this program better than it is, sleeping giant, all that stuff. They haven't done much on the field to be worthy of any kind of attention or national respect or whatever. But, there's just a ton of attention. There's a ton of people, wondering, is this going to work? Tuning in. It's going to be good for ratings. People are going to be interested. Will it work? I don't know. I mean, I have my doubts. He's 73 years old. He's never done it in college. He's going to have to do all kinds of things that are very, un-Belichickian in my mind, like schmoozing with boosters and all that sort of stuff. It's a different world in college football, as you all know. So does it work? Who knows? But, it's working right now in terms of interest, in terms of eyeballs, in terms of, people just being into Carolina football in a way that's never happened before.
Andrew, good stuff today. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you.
No, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all for having me.
You got it. More UNC. If you want to see, go to Andrew Carter on Twitter and X. He is the beat writer for the Raleigh News and Observer. As he pretty much laid it out that Duke's going to win.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Clearly going to win.
They will.
Coming up, there is a new version of Monopoly coming out that not everyone is happy about. It's Rocket Manucci, Jimmy B from Twin Peaks.